an anxiety attack now. That's what it looks like. If we had a conversation a couple of years ago and someone said, Kelly, have you ever experienced OCD? I would have said, hell no, I don't wash my hands, I don't turn a knob 20 times, I'm not Jack Nicholson, and as good as it gets. I would have never guessed, not in a million years, that my experience after my first daughter in 2000 and 2001 was considered postpartum OCD. I call my experience a postpartum OCD Sunday with a drizzle of depression and some psychotic sprinkles. It started with 2 words, what if? What if my daughter chokes on a Lego? What if she rolls over and she suffocates? What if she has cancer and I'm missing it? What if I have cancer? I never slept because I checked on her all night. Is she breathing? Yes, she's breathing. Go back to bed. Then I'd worry, did I suffocate her? I don't know if I suffocated her. Go back in. She's breathing again. Back to bed. Did I suffocate her that time? This would go on for 6 or 7 hours all night until I'd finally ask my husband, will you check on her? I just want to make sure I'm too tired. Why don't you just make sure she's fine? I trusted him. I didn't trust myself. I was terrified of my own thinking. Why would I think I would suffocate my own daughter? I love her. I love her with all my heart. What kind of mother thinks this thought? What kind of person thinks this thought? I'm a bad mom. My daughter was severely colicky, and friends would say, take her for a drive, Kelly. Always works. They'll fall asleep. All I could think about is her car seat falling out and imagining that tiny body strapped into her car seat and tumbling onto the freeway. I would see it in my mind. It was unbearable. I always hated horror movies, but I couldn't hit the pause button on the one playing in my head over and over again. It was like someone kept replaying the most terrifying parts over and over, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. They were insufferable and led to severe anxiety attacks. The little bits of sleep I did get were filled with unbearable nightmares. I dreamed I'd kill people, and in the morning I'd check the front of my car. Is there blood there? Did I wake up and do something or sleepwalk? I'd check the trunk for dead bodies, and I'm a good person. I've never done anything like that, but it was very real, felt very real. I didn't tell anyone, not even my husband, so I admire you for speaking out. I was worried my husband would leave me and take my daughter. I thought I was either psychotic or schizophrenic. That was a big fear of mine. At this point in my experience, it was June 2001. My daughter was 13 months old. I thought I was past the postpartum. My OCD seemed to be a mudslide into psychosis. It is my belief that if I found a therapist early, I would have avoided psychosis. I would have been validated, supported, and educated, instead of suffering alone and terrified of the unknown. There's a lot of confusion between OCD and psychosis. I obviously only am drawing from my own personal experience, but this is how it felt to me. With OCD, I was repulsed and terrified and questioned every thought I had. Why would I think that? I wanted to go away. I hate it. But when I was psychotic, I truly believed everything, every delusion is pure fact. One of my delusions was that a man was stalking me and wanted to kill me and sell my daughter in another country. And no mountain of evidence could have convinced me otherwise. In fact, the psychotic thoughts propelled me to protect myself and my daughter, and if anyone tried to convince me, I would think they were putting me in danger. I was also convinced I had a split personality. I felt like 2 people. One person that endured those intrusive, obsessive thinking, and the one that created them. I was convinced that I was a daughter of Satan because I could not understand why any good person, let alone a good mother, would have the thoughts I was having. My experience parallels Andrea Yates and Melanie Blocker Stokes. In June 2001, Andrea killed her children, Melanie killed herself. At this time, I was suicidal and planned to jump from the Fauché building in Minneapolis. I obviously did not. I started meditating and writing out 5 reasons to live every single morning. It didn't matter what it was. One time it was like, I don't have to get a cabbie. I don't have to endure traffic today. Anything that would put a smile on my face, and I'd feel it in my pocket all day long and just know that no one else was going to be my daughter Parker's mother but me. I also journaled, and that helped me a ton. That ended up turning out into my book, Unperfect, A Not So Graceful Journey into Motherhood. Both Melanie and Andrea were on medication. I was not. I was prescribed Xanax and Prozac, but the only medication I took was a half Xanax, and I didn't like how it made me feel. I felt like I was underwater and void of emotion, a shell mimicking life. I didn't want to mimic life, I wanted to live it. But how? It was so difficult to just live effortlessly because I had emotional baggage, a fractured spirit that needed repair. Our world is so used to fixing broken bones. You can x-ray it and show the patient, look, it healed. But a doctor can't pull a horrifying thought out of someone's mind and say, see, you're all better. I considered throwing myself downstairs so I'd break a bone just to get to a doctor, and somehow I knew I needed to get to a doctor, but I didn't know why. I worried for 7 years that I was schizophrenic and that the symptoms just went underground and would come back to get me. I had a postpartum hangover of guilt, shame, and panic that it would return. In September of 2007, I found EMDR therapist, Dr. Jennifer Holt. It took me 2 years to fully reveal my secret to her. While I pulled myself out of a suicidal state without medication or therapy, my full recovery did not happen until I worked with that therapist for more than 2 years. At this time, I also discovered the perinatal and postpartum OCD screening from the Center of Los Angeles. The copies are at the PPSM booth. My plea is for OBGYN offices to give the screening to all perinatal and postpartum patients. As for friends and family trying to support someone suffering from postpartum OCD, I think my book is a good read into the guts of what it may feel like for your loved one. In the very least, it would spark conversation and hopefully spark an open mind and heart. Frustration and bewilderment seem to be a common reaction from friends, family, and significant others. I can honor that. I just got this email yesterday from a mother suffering from postpartum OCD right now. Man, it was a garden of crappiness this weekend. My boyfriend and I are barely on life support at this point. My heart is breaking, Kelly, because I'm losing my best friend right before my eyes. He doesn't understand this and never will. I have nowhere to go, nor do I want to go. I want my family intact. Not only that, but I want him. He was my rock and my strength before, and now everything has fallen apart. Not only does PPD and PPOCD suck the life out of the person suffering, it sure does suck the life out of relationship. Blah, I need to try and be positive or I'll never make it through this. Support at home is a delicate area when someone's suffering. A lot of relationships get bruised, battered, and kicked around. My husband didn't find out about my experience until he read my manuscript for the book. He has the luxury of not understanding OCD, and he says, I don't get it. Like, if you don't want a certain thought, then don't think it. I mean, it sounds painfully simple, right? But for someone who has OCD, it's simply painful. Wish I could. If I told you right now, like, whatever you do, don't think of a pink cloud. Just don't. Don't do it. It'll ruin your life. Don't think about it. You'll think about it, because you'll try so hard not to. Postpartum OCD is a living hell without pink clouds. Trust me, if you could stop the thoughts, we would. An excerpt from my book explains how it feels to have a thought you can't shake from your head. It reads from June of 2001. I honestly have nothing to do with these thoughts, other than housing them in my head. They're like illegal squatters hanging out my psyche without paying rent. They come and go like drug dealers smuggling in horrible thoughts. That's the drug I'm addicted to, shitty thoughts that no one wants or needs. I believe postpartum OCD is one of the most misdiagnosed and misunderstood conditions. When I discovered that screening, I was relieved, validated, and most importantly, not alone. No one ever needs to be alone in this. Currently, there doesn't seem to be a lot of support groups out there, so I started the Postpartum Posse. If anyone knows anyone that wants to join, absolutely, I think everyone should have someone to go to. If you know anyone looking for support, give them my business card or email me. My website, evolutionmom.com, offers a place to find solace, support, and laughter. I'm a survivor and I'd never take my experience back. I made it through postpartum OCD, PPD, and psychosis, and I not only made it, but I made it better. I'm stronger, more compassionate, and happier, and ironically more peaceful than I've ever been. So thank you for listening, and thanks for your interest and determination to change the lives of everyone who needs the guidance and support from people like you. Appreciate it.